Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm actually just going to be doing a quick video and I just want to show you how to make an easel card. So I'm actually going to give you a couple tips along the way, so hopefully there'll be something in the video that you hadn't learned before. But these cards are really so easy, and I'm going to say that you can actually make this card any size that you want, and I'll explain that as I go, but I tend to make 6x6 kind of easel cards. I just find them easier, and I tend to make bulk cards at a time, so I just find that easy to just use 6x6 and use up like the full piece of paper. So the first thing I want to tell you is, when you have any cardstock, any solid cardstock, if you fold it one way and then fold it another way, you will see that it resists kind of folding one way, and the other way is a little easier to bend, which in this case is this way. So when I go to cut this paper, I actually want to cut it so that when I fold the card, it's folding on the seam that's easier. So in this case I want to be able to fold the card this way, so I'm actually going to put it into my paper trimmer this way. And what I find if you do that is you'll find that you'll get less cracking at the seam, and it just creates a better finish. There's some cardstocks that when you go to fold your paper, it cracks on you. So the first thing I'm doing is cutting it 6x12, and what I do is I actually just leave those two pieces aside, because I do like 4 cards at a time. So this one is easier to fold this way, so I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer the opposite way so that when I go to fold the card, it's easier. So I do 2 pieces of paper, I cut them 6x12, and then the last piece of paper I just cut 4 6x6 squares, and that'll give you, that's enough to make your 4 cards. Okay, so now what you're going to be doing is scoring your cardstock. So I use a score pal to score my cardstock. So you're going to take your 6x12 pieces of paper, and you're going to be scoring it at 6 inches, so that's exactly in half. And then your next score line has to be exactly half from there within your 6x6 square, so you score it in this case at 9. But if you used a 5x10 piece of cardstock, then you would simply score it at 5, and then you score it at 7.5, so that you have 2.5 there and 2.5 there. So you can really use any size of cardstock that you want, as long as that second score line is exactly half of your square. So what you're going to be doing is folding it, and I do recommend that you use a bone folder. I always use bone folders. You just get a stronger kind of crease that way. So you're going to be scoring it there, and then your other score line, which is in the middle, you're going to be folding that back on itself like that. And then you're going to be taking one of your 6x6 square piece of paper, and you're just going to adhere it onto the front. So you, in this case, you only need adhesive on this 3x6 square. You want to use a fairly reliable adhesive here too. So I got my ATC gun, and in this case I find it a little bit easier to actually stretch out the card, and then I just lay down, and the best way to when you're lining up paper like this is to line up the one edge. I find that people get really out of sorts when they're trying to line up everything at the same time, but if you actually line up this edge and you get this straight, then when you go to lay it down, the rest of it should be straight. So now here's your easel card where you're just going to make it, and then it's able to stand up inside. like that. So, and you always need to put something inside, like baubles, I call them baubles, anything, brads, anything that sticks up so that the paper, like the front of the card, can kind of sit behind a ledge. Or if you put any sentiment in here and you pop it up on foam tape, this will like stand behind that as well. So it's up to you what you want to do. So now I'm going to show you some examples of cards that I've completed that are easel cards. And I should mention that at the in the drop down bar, I'm actually going to also link another YouTube video of mine where I showed how to make an easel card box with drawers. So it's a flat box with several drawers on around the outside, and then there's an easel card on top, which is really nice. So that's actually a really fun project to do as well. So this is one of the easel cards that I made recently. I made it for my friend who just recently adopted a baby girl. So this is the front of the card. I always like to add a charm or something, and in general, when I make my cards, I like to have sort of different textures. I find it just adds to the appeal of the card. So I almost always use paper, some kind of flowers, like a ribbon or something textured like that. And then I do like what I call hardware, so brads or any kind of metal embellishments I like to try and add on to my cards. So this one just stands up, and inside it says congratulations. So that is one of the easel cards that I made. And I should mention that one of the things I do like to do is I like to give instructions for the fact that it is an easel card that I made. So what I've sort of done them up on little labels, and I put it usually on the top here, so that when the person, almost everyone's going to open the card like this thinking it's just a regular card, but what I do is I put instructions on the top just explaining that it is an easel card and how you stand it up in the card. So this one is actually using the Lucy paper pack that with Close to My Heart that came out in summer 2012. Okay, so this is actually another card, easel card that I made most recently, and I used the new Close to My Heart paper pack called For Always in the Spring Summer 2013 idea book. So I actually did make this, made this into a wedding theme card, although I think that you could certainly make do any kind of theme that you wanted. It's just a really elegant looking paper pack that you could use for lots of things. So this is the card, and I used some of our badge pearls to you know, so that the card could stand up and hold and sort of rest behind those. But like I said before, you can put up, like I could have just left this the way it was, like with a popped up sentiment, and the card would actually rest behind that as well. But I chose to do that. I think that our black tulle goes really well with the For Always paper pack. It actually comes like this, but what I did is I cut the length that I wanted, and then I cut it down the half in the length so that I could tie it up and meet it in the middle. So, and I could have cut this into thirds as well and used it a little thinner piece too. So this is really great. So that's another easel card that I've made. And then this is actually one I made a little while ago. I haven't done anything with it yet, but this is using basic gray, I think bittersweet paper. In this case I used like clear kind of baubles. They might be hard to pick up, but they're also inside the card, and that's what I again used to stand the card up. So there's some, in this case I used 3 of them. You certainly couldn't get away with 2 sort of baubles or brads or whatever you want to put there to stand things up, but sometimes I use 3 just for interest's sake. So that is another easel card. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I really hope that you take the opportunity to make some easel cards of your own. They're so easy, and they just turn out really nice. And I think if you make a card like this and you put so much effort into it, and with all the embellishments and everything, it's just nice for someone that they can stand it up and display it, you know, out for a while if that's what they do. So yeah, I just think it's a neat way to also, you know, decorate the inside of a card, which I think is always a bonus. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you join me for my next video. Until next time, bye-bye.